I'm 95 years old, and I've never told anyone what I'm about to tell you. Not my family, not my friends. Nobody alive knows this story. And I'm telling it now because I'll be dead soon, and someone needs to hear this from a woman who lived it. Not a therapist, not a pastor, not a movie. A woman who did it and lived with it and paid for it for 70 years. I was the other woman for 14 years, from 1956 to 1970. His name was Edward. He was married, 2 children, a wife named Kathleen, and I loved him. And he said he loved me. And we destroyed more lives than either of us could count. I'm not going to tell you how it started, because how it starts doesn't matter. Every affair starts the same way. A look, a conversation, a feeling that this person sees you in a way nobody else does. It doesn't matter if it's 1956 or 2024. The script hasn't changed. The lies haven't changed. The destruction hasn't changed. I'm going to tell you what it actually costs, because nobody tells you the full bill. They tell you about the betrayal and the divorce and the crying wife. They don't tell you about the rest, the parts that follow you for the rest of your natural life. Here's what an affair costs, and I'm going to tell you every item on the bill. It costs you yourself. I was 24 when it started. I was a person, a full person, with my own life and my own value and my own future. By the time it ended, I was 38, and I didn't know who I was outside of Edward. 14 years of secrecy and waiting and hidden phone calls and stolen afternoons had hollowed me out. I had no real friendships, because real friendships require honesty, and I couldn't be honest with anyone. I had no real life, because my real life was a secret. I existed in the margins of someone else's marriage, in the footnotes, in the shadows. And after 14 years in the shadows, you forget what the sun looks like. It costs the wife everything. I never met Kathleen. I never wanted to, because meeting her would have made her real. And I needed her to not be real. I needed her to be a concept, the wife, not a person, not a woman who made dinner for the man I was sleeping with, not a woman who woke up next to him and didn't know he'd been with me the day before, not a woman who trusted the one person she should have been able to trust. But she was real. She was a real woman with a real face and real tears and a real life that I helped destroy. And the fact that I never saw those tears doesn't mean they didn't fall. They fell every night for years after she found out. My daughter found Kathleen's obituary online last year. She died in 2019. Her obituary said, "Beloved mother and devoted friend." It didn't say, "Woman whose trust was destroyed by her husband and a woman named Evelyn." But it should have. That was part of her story too. The part I wrote without her permission. It costs the children their ability to trust. Edward had 2 children, a boy and a girl. They were 4 and 7 when the affair started. They were 18 and 21 when Kathleen found out and the marriage exploded. Their father, the man who taught them what men are, the man who was supposed to show them what love looks like and what commitment means. That man was a liar for 14 years. And when the truth came out, every memory those children had of their father was contaminated. Every family dinner, every Christmas morning, every time he said, "I love you" to their mother, all of it retroactively poisoned by the knowledge that he was lying, that the family they thought they had was a performance, that the ground they were standing on was never solid. Edward's son never married. He's in his 70s now, never married. His daughter married 3 times, 3 divorces. I don't know the details of their lives, but I know the math. A father's affair doesn't end when the affair ends. It echoes through the children, into the grandchildren, into every relationship those children attempt for the rest of their lives. I helped create that echo. 14 years of stolen afternoons produced a lifetime of broken trust for people I never met. It costs you every future relationship. After Edward, I married a good man. His name was Frank. Decent, honest, kind. And I couldn't trust him, not because he was untrustworthy, because I knew what people were capable of. I knew because I was one of those people. I knew that a person could look you in the eyes and say, "I love you," and mean it, and also be lying about everything else. I knew this because I'd done it, and I spent my marriage to Frank waiting for him to do the same. Because people who betray know how easy it is, and that knowledge is a poison that infects every relationship that comes after. Frank died without ever knowing about Edward. I never told him. Another lie, another secret, another piece of myself I hid because the truth was too ugly to share. I went from one hidden life to another, from Edward's secret to Frank's unknowing wife. Always hiding, always performing, always one conversation away from everything collapsing. It costs you peace. I'm 95. I've had 70 years to live with this. 70 years of knowing what I did. 70 years of seeing Kathleen's face in my imagination, even though I never saw it in real life. 70 years of wondering about those children, whether they're okay, whether they ever healed, whether the damage I helped create followed them the way I know it did. People think an affair is a chapter, something that happens and then it ends and you move on. It's not a chapter. It's a stain on every page that comes after. Every page. You don't move on. You just keep turning pages, and the stain is always there. Sometimes faded, but always there. On your deathbed, it will be there. I promise you that. 95 years old. And I can still hear the phone ringing at the times he said he'd call. I can still feel the specific shame of waiting for a married man to have time for me between the family he was supposed to be faithful to. If you are in an affair right now, or thinking about starting one, or telling yourself it's just a friendship that happens to make you feel alive in ways your marriage doesn't, I need you to hear me from the end of a 95-year life. It is not worth it. Not the excitement, not the passion, not the feeling of being seen, not the escape from your unhappy marriage. None of it. None of it is worth the bill. And the bill comes. Not today. Maybe not this year. But it comes. And it's bigger than you can imagine. And it's not just your bill. It's your children's bill. And their children's bill. And the bill of a woman or a man you never met, whose life you helped dismantle from the shadows. If your marriage is broken, fix it or leave it. Those are the two honest choices. The third choice, the secret one, the one that feels exciting and dangerous and alive. That one costs everything. I'm 95. I know the price. I've been paying it for 70 years. And I'm still not done. You won't be either.